Okay, so in this online class, we are going to discuss Java methods, right? So hope we have already discussed the previous topics, okay, all the basic concepts in Java. So in this online class, we are going to discuss Java methods, or we can say Java functions. Right? What is the main use of this function or method? Okay. So just like how we use the looping statement in Java. What is the need of using this looping statement? Instead of writing multiple lines, it will reduce the lines of code. Okay, that statement, okay, block of code that has to be written multiple times in your code can be reduced and put it inside a looping statement. So it will be repeatedly executed based on the conditions. Okay? So just like the looping statements, we can also more or less the concept is same for methods as well. Fine. So what is the use of these methods? It's a kind of reusable code. Right. See what is this? Kindly mute your audio, or otherwise I will see when you join. Kindly mute your audio now. I'm recording the class, but what you are doing. Hmm? Fine. Okay, so let me start it again. See, kindly when you join, mute your audio. I'm recording the video. Okay, so it will record all the noisy information as well. Fine. So kindly mute your audio. Okay, so in this online class, we are going to discuss method. What is this method? Why we need to use this function or method in Java? Okay, because of its reusability, or if you want to reuse your code again and again so many times in your Java code, then it's necessary. Okay, it is very essential to use this function method to reduce the number of codes in your Java. Fine. So let me tell you the definition for Java method. A method is the block of code which only runs when it is called. So when we see the example, we can understand what is this method and what is this method calling and method definition. Right? And when you call a function, you can also pass the parameters and arguments from the function calling to function definition. Okay? And the third one is methods are used to perform certain function, also known as function. Okay? In case if you want to reuse the code again in your main function, now you can use this method to reduce the number of lines. So what we use of this function or method which helps to reduce the number of lines or number of fine. Okay, so let's see an example for Java methods. Okay, let's see how we can use this function or method in your Java code. So normally, how a class is declared in Java, all the Java class will have a name. Okay, along with the access specifier public. So how you define a class? Public class followed by the class name. And after the class, after declaring the class, normally we used to mention the function, main function. Okay. So what is the syntax to declare a main function? As you know, as you are seeing in this slide, mm, public static void main string args. Okay. See, this how we normally write a code, and inside this main function, we write all the code that is to be executed in your Java program. Fine. So if you are using the function concept in your Java program, you're supposed to use a user-defined function. Okay, you're supposed to use a user-defined function to write a block of code that can be executed repeatedly when we need it. Fine. So see here. So there is a syntax to use this function concept in your Java program. What is the syntax? See here. Static, the return type. Okay, sorry. The static has to be declared, just like how we declare public. Okay, so we can also use public here. That is another case where you can use this public. Okay, if it is declared with class and object, you're supposed to use the keyword public. Okay, we'll discuss this public concept when we see classes and objects. Fine. So here we have static void followed by the function name. Okay, so how two things you have to know before you use this function concept in Java. The first one is the first one is okay. The first one is function. Okay, function definition, and the second one is function calling. Okay, second one is function calling, which is not written neatly anyway. Okay, the first one is function calling and second one is first one is function definition and second one is function calling. So whenever you use this function concept in Java, you need to remember two things. First one is function definition and another one is function calling. Let's see what is this function definition and what is function calling. Okay, so the thing that we have written here is function definition. Okay, this thing, okay, this line we call it as function calling. What is this function calling? So we'll say you one simple example so that we'll understand these two differences, function definition and calling. Okay, if you want to call your friend, how you will call? Either you call your friend by nickname or his or her name. Okay, say for example if your friend name is Navi, so how you call that? You call your friend by his name, okay, or by her name. Okay, you call the friend as Navi. Okay, similarly, you can call the function with the function name. See, what is the function name here? So let me explain you what is function definition. Function definition is where you write the block of code. So the block of code here is I'm going to print I just got executed. A statement is written inside this function. Okay, with normally the function is declared with a keyword, two main keyword, that is static and this one is return type. Okay, static and return type followed by the function name. So this is the function name. What is the function name? My method of. And inside this function, a statement is given system.out.println. See, here only one line is given, but instead you can also write multiple lines. Okay, even 10 lines of code inside this function. Okay, so static void my method. Any name can be given for a function, but always give a meaningful name for a function. So system.out.println, and this statement will be executed here. Fine. So see the main function. Now the function is defined. What I told you, the second thing, the second important criteria that you need to remember for function, that is function calling. So this one is function definition and this one is function calling. So what it will do, whenever you need to execute a block of code as a function, you have to call the function name. How we can call a function name? With its name. With the function name only you can call that function, right? So this is a function and this is nothing but function calling. So whenever you need this function, whenever you need this block of code to execute that is written inside a function, you have to call it. You have to call the function. Okay, so inside the main program, whenever you need it, you can call the function. Okay, here I have just called the function only once, my method of. So once I call the function with its name, that is my method of, it will go to this method definition and it will execute the block of code. And this is the output for my code, for my Java code. I just got executed. Right? So this is a simple program for defining a function inside a Java program. Okay, let me see you another one example so that you will understand more about these functions. See here also I have a main class. Okay, this is a class and inside the class I have defined a function. The two main criteria you need to remember for using a function inside a class. The first one is function definition and second one is function calling. Here we have a class name and inside this class we have a method that static void my method. Okay? So it is a method definition that I have given inside this class. See the main function public static void main, where we are just calling the function thrice. Okay, first time we are calling it, for the second time, and also for the third time. So three times we are calling that function. For three times it will execute the block of code that is written here. So meaning is what is a function whenever we need it. Okay, whenever we need to execute the block of code that is written inside the function, we call the function. We call the function to execute that block of code. If you don't need it, there is no need to call the function. Right? But in the case of looping statement, what it will do? It will, okay, it will definitely execute the block of code, okay, repeatedly for a certain number of times. So based on the condition, it will execute repeatedly the statement that is given inside the for loop. Whereas in function, what is the main advantage? When if you want to execute the code repeatedly, okay, you just call it. Okay? If you don't need, there is no need to call the function. Right? So that's the difference. Fine. So now I'm calling this function thrice, so it will execute the statement here for three times. So I'll get the output as I just got executed. Okay, I just got executed because I'm calling this function for three times. Okay, for the first time it go and see the block of code that is I just got executed. This is for first time, and this is the second function calling output, and this one is third function calling output. Okay, so let me show you in practical in this how we can define and how we can access these functions. Okay, Okay, so I'm going to open an online compiler. You can also use software to run all your Java codes. Okay, let me define a function for you. Okay, so my function name is, say for example, addition. Since I'm going to do an addition, okay, since I'm going to do an addition, the return type is void. Hope you know what is that return type. Void is a return type. Instead of void, you can also mention int, float, or int string or character. Okay. So my return type is null. Okay. I'm not going to return anything from this function. So I simply have given us void. Okay. So now I'm going to add two values. So int. Okay. I have just declared the variables a and b. Okay. So a and b. We'll also assign values of a and b. That is 10 and b is equal to 20. Okay, now I'm going to add it and print it in the system.out.println of, okay, the result is plus a plus, yeah, and semicolon. So inside this main function, I'm just going to call it. Okay, how we call a function with a function name. So what is the function name actually? The function name is actually addition. Okay, I just call the function with its name. So okay, for the first time I'm calling this function. See here, the result is 13. It will add the value of a and b and display it here. The result is e. In case, instead of assigning it here, okay, if you want to pass it, so for example, if you want to pass the values from, uh, okay, so I also explain, okay, see, after addition of, say for example, if you have printed a statement, um, okay, println function called for first time, function called for the first time, okay, function called for the first time, okay. So see, if I run it, okay, see, if you call that function again, say for example, okay, if you call the function again, okay, for n number of times you can call that function. Whenever we need it, we can call the function call for the second time. Okay, let me give you the value. Function call for the second. Okay, when you run this code, see here, this 30 is for first time. Okay, this 30 is for actually for first time. Okay, so this 30 is for the first time when I call the function. This is for the second time. So whenever you need it, you can call the functions. Okay. Instead of assigning values here, in case if you want to pass it from the function, calling the function information, you can also pass the values. Okay. For the first time when I call it, I need to pass the values. Say for example, 10, 20. Okay, 10, 20. So if you are going to pass the values from the function calling to definition, how you can do it? You have to mention inside the function calling. Where you will call the function inside the main program. So where the program starts to execute, it will, okay, the program starts to compile the code, okay, compile the code. From there, it will compile the code from the main program, okay, from the beginning line of the main program. So it won't, okay, unless and otherwise you call this function, this statement won't be executed automatically. If you call it, it will be executed. Otherwise, it won't execute automatically. The function that is written inside the main function only will execute when you run this Java program. Okay. So see here, now I'm just passing this values 10 and 20. In order to get this values, I need to mention it here. So int a comma b. See the now see this code. Okay. Here I'm passing another one value, say for example 20 comma 30. Okay. Now run it. See here, for the first time when I call it, this function, I'm passing 10 and 20. Okay, so when I pass 10 and 20 to this variables a and b, it will add both the values a and b and print it here. So the result is 30. Okay, so the result is 30 when you call that function for the first time. When you call it again, I'm passing the values that is 20 and 30. Okay, 20 and 30 are the values when I pass it for the second time. Fine. So by adding 20 and 30, what value will get it here? That is 50. So function called for the second time. So for the first time, the value is 30, and when you call for the second time, the value is 50. Why it is 50? Because I am passing 20 and 30 from this function calling to function definition. So that's why by adding the value of 20 and 30, I get the result as 50. So that's why it's printing 50 here, function called for the second term. Right? Okay, in case if you are not passing any values here, okay, if you are not passing any values here, and by default, okay, if you have assigned the value as 10 and b is assigned with 20, okay, for the first time, okay, for the first time you're calling this function with new parameters. Okay, when you run it, see here, it will take this default values. Okay, it will take this default values. Why I'm getting error? Why what semicolon is missing? Okay, let me show you when we default values. No value response what will be there. No arguments. Okay, if I pass a equal to 10 and b equal to 20, what will be the output? It should be correct, but I don't know why it is not working. Let me, okay, we compile this with the same program in some other, okay, it should work here because if no values are passed from this function calling, it will take this default value a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. But then for the second case, since it is not getting the value, mm, you and you know, it is expecting some value because the default values cannot be given. So okay, let me run this same code, okay, in a different compiler, so definitely it will work. See, for the first time the result is 0, and for the second time I'm getting the result as 50. Right? So this how we can call the function with different parameters. Okay, let me show you it again. So the next thing that we are going to see is the same thing what we have discussed just now. It is Java method parameters. What is this parameters? Passing information from the function calling to the function definition. Okay, in case if you want to pass the information from the function calling to function definition, you can also do it with this parameter passing. Okay, so information can be passed to methods as parameters, and parameters act as variables inside the method. And third one is parameters are specified after the method name inside the process. What I am describing now is just like how we values from the function calling to the function definition. And if you are passing multiple values, it should be separated with comma. If you're passing only one value, then there is no need of separation. Okay, separation of commas, because if you want to pass two values or more than one values from the function calling to function definition, it should be separated with commas. And this is an example for how you pass the values from function calling to function definition. Here we have a class, public class name, and the method is defined as static void my method of string name. I'm just getting a string value here in this function definition. Right? See the main function public static void main. Here we have method name calling this method, okay, with the parameters. Okay, when I call this function for the first time, it will pass me here. When we when very same function is called again, okay, here the next parameter is passed, it is Jenny. And the third time when you call it, you'll have that. Okay, for the third time when you call it, you'll have that function. Okay, you'll have the parameter anja. Fine. So three times I'm calling this function with different parameters. So for the first time, this is the output, and for the second time, Jenny is the output, and third time, your this name Anja is passed from this function calling to function definition. So that's why it's printing Anja here. And so this how we pass values, or this how we pass arguments or parameters from function calling to function definition. Let me. Okay, so see, in the previous case we have passed only one parameters. Whereas if you want to pass more than one parameters from function calling to function definition, then you need to use the separation. Okay, how you separate each value? Okay, each value should be separated with commas. Right. So let's see an example with this. passing values or passing parameters, more than one parameters from function call into function definition. See here we have a class and the class name is name. We have a method static void my method is defined here. But then it is having two parameters with different data types. The first one is a string data type and second one is the integer data type. Fine. So after we get the value from the function calling to function definition, this value is printed here, okay, inside the system.out.println function. Okay, see the main function. Now we are inside the main function. We are just calling the method. We are calling the function. Okay, how you call a function with a function name? Fine. So my method of I'm passing, since I'm having two parameters here, that is f name and age, I need to pass two values from this function calling to function definition. Okay. So the first value should be the string and second value can be, okay, both the values should have the same data type. If it is mentioned with string, then the values that is being passed from here to function calling to function definition should have the same data type. Okay, if you are passing string, then it has to pass, it has it has to be passed, the values has to be, the string values has to be passed from the function calling to function definition. Okay, so lianas will be passed here and stored in f name, and age, this value is passed from here to here. Okay, so for the first time we get the output as lianas 5, and for the second time when you call the function with this parameter Jenny and the age, okay, so this value, this string value will be passed from here to this parameter f name. So for the second time when you call the function, f name is assigned with this name Jenny and age is assigned with the value 8. So you have the value Jenny is 8. Fine. And for the third time when you are calling this function Anja, the f name is Anja and the age is 31. So this how values will be assigned here. Okay, so whenever you call the function from the function calling to definition, okay, with the exact parameter, the exact parameter has to be passed. If it is mentioned with the string, string value has to be passed from the function calling to function definition. Okay, so these are about this Java method parameter. We have another one parameters in this return value. As I told you, let me give an example with this return method so that you will understand it well. Okay, so here instead of, okay, so how, what is the syntax for a function definition? Okay, static void function name and the parameters. Okay, so this is the syntax of declaring a function. Okay, so what is this void? Void is nothing but a return type in case. Okay, so what this void represents, okay, if you don't want to pass any values, if you don't want to return any values from the function definition to function calling, then you can use this void function. In case if you want to return any value, okay, any value from the function definition to function calling, then you're supposed to mention the return type here. Okay, so since I'm going to return integer value from the function definition to calling, then the return type should be integer. Okay, so after adding the value, I'm going to return, okay, this integer value. So since I'm returning the integer value from the function calling to function definition, I need to mention the return type as integer. Okay, I'm going to return this value C. After adding the values of A and B, I'm just returning the value of C to the main program. Okay, so in order to see normally how you call a function, see here we have two parameters inside this function definition. Yeah, so I need to give two values 4 and 5. Okay, I need to give the values 4 and 5. In order to get this value, a variable has to be declared. So int d. Fine. D is equal to addition of 4 and 5. So what it will do, after seeing the statement addition of 4 and 5, this value will be passed from the function calling to function definition, and these values 4 and 5 will be assigned here. So we have 4 in A and 5 in B. So after adding A and B, we get 9. Okay, C is equal to 9. So this will be written, this 9 will be written here and assigned to the variable D. Okay, so when the function called for the first time, okay, D value equal to plus D. Okay, when you call for the second time, we need to assign it again. So I'm going to declare another one variable, say for example E. So when you call that function for the second time, E is equal to addition of 20 and 30. So what it will do, it will pass the value from this place to function definition. So for the second time, we are passing the values 20 and 30 from here to there. So when you pass 20 and 30 from here to the function definition, A value is assigned with 20 and B value is assigned with 30. So if you add both the values of A and B, what you will get? 20 plus 30, that is 50. So C value is assigned with 50. When you print it, you will get the value 50. But then we are using this return function, return C. So what it will do, it will return that value of C when you call that function for the second time. So what would be the value of C? That is 50. Okay. So this 50 value will be assigned in the variable A. Okay. So E equal to plus E. Okay. So for the second time, when you call the function, we are passing the values 10 and 20 and 30, and that value will be added and assigned to the variable C. And after adding the value of A and B, we are just returning the C value. Okay. So when this value C is returned from this function call, function definition to function calling, that value will be assigned in the variable E. When you print it, you'll have that E value. Okay. So let me run this code for you. Okay, so we missed that semicolon. Okay, so when you run this code, see for the first time, into C, okay, we need to declare the variable separately. Okay. Okay, so when you run this code, see here, for the first time when we call it, I'm passing the values 4 and 5. When you add 4 and 5, you get 9, right? So that 9 will be returned from the function, function definition to function calling. So for the first time, when you call that function, you will have the d value as 9. Again, the function is called with the values 20 and 30. So for the second time, the values of A is 10 and the value of B is 30. So both the values will be added and assigned to the variable C. So C is equal to 50. Okay. Function, when you call function called for the second time and the value was 50. So this how we can pass the values from the function calling to function definition. Okay. Okay. So this is return value. What is return value? In case if you want to return values from function definition to function calling, you're supposed to use the statement. You're supposed to use the keyword return. Okay. So void keyword used in the examples above indicate that the method should not return any value. That the method will not return any value if you use void keyword in the function definition. Okay. If you want to return a value, you can use a primitive data type such as int, char, etc. Okay. You can use any different data type to return a values. Okay. To return the parameters from the function definition to function calling. Okay. So this is another one example how you return values from function calling in function definition to function calling. Here we have a class name is main, and after that a method is defined. Okay, with a return type integer, and we are returning a value 5 plus x. Okay, after we get the parameter value from function calling, we add both the values, that is 5 plus x, and returning the values after we do the addition. Fine. We have a main function. Inside the main function, I'm calling that function my method of. Okay, I'm calling the function with the parameter. So what is the parameter? I'm passing an integer value. Right. So this three will be called and assigned it here. So now when we call this method, or when we call this function, okay, we are calling the function along with the parameter, that is 3. So this information will be passed from here and assigned it to the x variable. So now x will have 3. Okay, so 5 plus, what is the x value? That is 3. So 5 plus 3, when you do 5 plus 3, okay, what value is 5 plus 3? That is 8. So this 8, this resultant value will be returned from this function definition to here. So when you run it, you will get the value 8. Because since we are printing system.out.println my method, we are just printing the return value of the function. Okay, so what value will be written from the function definition? That is 8. So that will be printed here. Since this function calling is mentioned inside the system.out.println, what's the use of system.out.println? It will print a statement. Okay, it will print the statement that is given inside the curly brackets. Sorry, the double quotes. Fine. So the values will be displayed here once it is returned from the function definition. Okay. So let me give you another example. So in the previous case, we have seen of we have seen of passing the values, only one value from the function calling to function and definition. So this is an example for how we pass multiple values from function calling to the definition. Okay. So when you see this main function, we have a method, we have a function calling, a method calling with two parameters. We are passing two information from the function calling to definition. Right. When we pass these values, see here, my method, I'm calling the function with two parameters 5 and 3. So this values will be assigned here. So x value is assigned with 5 and y value is assigned with 3. Okay, we do x plus y. So 5 plus 3 is 8. So we are after addition, we are passing the values of x plus y. So we return x plus y. Okay, so what's the return value of x plus y? That is 8. Okay, so this value 8 will be returned here. So system.out.println will give you 8. Okay, so this is how we can pass values. Okay, this is also another one example of how we return values from function, um, function calling. Sorry, how we return values from function definition to function calling. Okay. So the final one is a simple program of how we can also use conditional statement inside this function definition. Okay, so this is an example program for how example program to check the eligibility of a citizen to vote. Okay, actually, what is the eligibility criteria to vote? Okay, that is actually greater than 18. Okay, we are going to check the age whether they are eligible or old enough to vote. Okay, here we have a class name is main, and the function is defined inside static void check age. Check age is nothing but function name. So inside this function name, we have a parameter. Okay, int age is a parameter. So we have only one parameter here, and inside this function definition, I am going to check the age. If the age is less than 18, I will print access denied, you are not old enough. Fine. So if age is greater than 18, okay, I will have the output access granted, you are old enough. Okay. So if it is less than 18, okay, meaning is if the age is less than 18, the condition is true, then they will not be allowed to vote. Okay, they don't have the eligibility to vote. Okay, so if this condition is true, I need to print the statement access denied, you are not old enough. Fine. So if this condition is true, meaning is the age is greater than 18 actually. Okay, if this condition is false, you will get the output as access granted, you are old enough. Okay, now see the main function. I have a main function, and inside the main function I am calling this function check age of 20. So what it will do, it will pass this parameter. I am calling a function with a parameter 20. So this 20 will be passed from here to this function definition. So here I have age, I have a variable age. So age is assigned with 20. So now since age is 20, 20 is less than 18. Condition is true or false? Condition is actually false. Okay, this condition is false, it will take this part. Okay, it will take this else part. Okay, so this condition is false, so it will print the statement as access granted, you are old enough. Right, so this how we can also use conditional statement inside this function definition. Okay, so this is all about how we can use function, how we can write a code for functions in Java. Hope you understand all these things. Okay, you can also use online compiler to run all your Java code, or else use Eclipse or to run your